Good afternoon. We'll call the meeting to order and begin with our land acknowledgement statement. We acknowledge that the ground on which we live is the traditional territory of Caldwell First Nation, of the Three Fires Confederacy, and the original people of Point Pelee and Pelee Island, and its surrounding lands and waters, and that of the Huron-Wendat and Wyandot peoples. We recognize and respect the First Nations who are stewards of the land and waters of Turtle Island and who have embraced this stewardship since time immemorial. We would also like to acknowledge contributions of other nearby First Nation communities and all original people across Turtle Island. Do we have any disclosures of pecuniary interest? An adoption of the minutes from the Parks and Rec Events Committee meeting held May 26, 2026. Moved by Councillor Regis
So
Bayoul.
moved.
Support by Councillor Burns. All in favor? And that carries. Items for consideration, we have the 2026 Spring Session Report of Joint Programs and Events between Culture and Rec and Public Works, and that's our Manager of Culture and Recreation. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Your Worship, members of Council. The report before you is our regular report we bring each Parks and Recreation Events Committee meeting. This particular report is for the spring 2026 session from April till June, or second quarter. Just to start, with regards to our facilities update, each year, as you know, we remove one of the ice pads. This year, we remove Rink A for the annual spring maintenance. And that work goes on each year, and the staff do a variety of activities from painting to cleaning of dashboards, cleaning the glass, minor repairs, floor inspection, and preventive maintenance. They also replaced the sport safety netting for spectators this year because the previous netting had reached the end of its useful life. I also wanted to highlight some work our facilities team did on the outdoor pool, which is on the screen here in my presentation. So each year in the spring, we have to remove the cover, and facilities does a great job of getting the pool ready for us in short order so we can start serving the public. This particular year, they removed the cover, did the regular power washing cleaning, but they also worked with the contractor to do some painting for the surface of the pool. And they also epoxied the slide because it was, needing some attention. As you can see on the right side, that's the sort of end product of the painting that was done. And on the left side, the pool in action this summer. The pool looks fantastic. We really appreciate the work that was done by both facilities and the contractor they worked with. But we've also seen the benefits ongoing as we go throughout the summer. It's made the daily, weekly maintenance that we do vacuuming the pool much easier because the surface is now smoother and more consistent, and there's not that sort of pitting almost in the surface that allows that algae and other dirt and grime to get stuck. And so we've got great feedback, I think, this summer that's been shared with Ms. Turnbull and her team at the outdoor pool, and just want to highlight the kind of work that went into putting a nice little facelift on the outdoor pool this summer. In addition, in the report, we highlighted some work that we did with the parks team. So as we keep going year after year, season after season, we certainly have a lot of soccer and baseball field rentals, but we are also seeing an increased demand for the pavilion and events on the property as well. So at the end of last season, in the fall of 2025 and in the winter of 2026, we worked with Mr. Beggs and Mr. Bryden from Parks to come up with a plan to use their existing staff maintenance resources to make sure that we could, especially on the weekends, float the diamonds and get them ready for baseball each morning. But then their staff could also make it over and get the pavilion cleaned and ready for a group renting for a family get-together or an event. Then they could maybe potentially make it back to do any maintenance on the diamonds, while also doing any of the work they also do on the gardens throughout the property. Or I know they also often travel off the Vollmer grounds on the weekends to do other maintenance around the town. So it was a great partnership where we worked on, okay, what's your staff schedule? What staff resources do you have? What is the demand that we're having from the user group at which time they want to rent? And what time does the pavilion need to be rented? And how can we create maintenance blocks and sort of steer pavilion rentals to certain times, baseball rentals to certain times, so that the existing staff resource we have can service all those needs and deliver a high level of service within what we have existing. So that went really well in the spring. We're continuing to monitor it for the rest of the summer. We'll meet again in the fall and make any tweaks where necessary, but it was a good partnership along with the Parks Department on how do we deliver a high level of service to the customer, whether it be a user group using a baseball diamond or someone renting a pavilion for a family event or a community event, and how do we also leave the parks team enough time to still do the other maintenance on the gardens or the other parts of the town that they have to get to that weekend as well. I'm just going to turn it over to Ms. Turnbull, who's going to talk a little bit about our programming this spring.
Thank you, and good evening, members of council and Madam Mayor. Spring 2026 was a very strong session for programming. We had a total of 4,305 registered participants in our programs and 32,221 fitness members. Our fill rates remained fairly consistent from the spring of 2025 to the spring of 2026, both very strong for aquatics and recreation programming. There was slightly lower attendance in aquatics by 35 participants when looking at spring 2025 to spring 2026, and slightly higher registration with our recreation programming, 10 participants higher there. Where we did see a large increase in our programming numbers was with our senior active living programming. So we continue to see great turnout and great participation in these programs, which is excellent to see. So we had 2,334 participants come out to our senior active living events and programs in the spring of 2026, which is over 1,000 more participants over the spring of 2025. In the spring of 2026, we offered 93 activities versus 42 that were offered in the spring of 2025. One of the events that we did offer in the spring was our Senior Active Living Expo. So this was our second expo that we've offered to the community. We had 415 attendees attend, which was a larger and greater turnout than last year. And we had 78 businesses and organizations that took part as well, which was 13 higher than last year as well. It was a great event. We heard some really great feedback from both the attendees and from the organizations alike. We had some attendees saying that they had no idea all of the resources and businesses or supports that were available in our area. So they were very happy to know that there were some things that they could take advantage of. They had their bags loaded with different resources and pamphlets and things that they were excited to see. We had great feedback from the organizations who were already excited to tell us that they hope we'll be doing a third annual and that they would love to be there. So overall, it was a great day, great turnout, great event there. So I'll turn it over now to Ms. Rayfuse to speak on sport field bookings and events.
Thank you, Ms. Turnbull. So as noted on the slide before you, there was an increase of 369 total hours booked during the spring 2026 season compared to the spring of 2025. The majority of these hours are rented by, I'm sure as you know, our two major user groups, the LaSalle Stompers Soccer Club and the LaSalle Turtle Club. Moving into events, so the spring session always marks the beginning of our event season. We kicked off the season with the inaugural LaSalle Awards of Excellence, followed by the LaSalle Spring Fling, the launch of the LaSalle Night Market Series, the LaSalle Strawberry Festival, and the LaSalle Senior Active Living Seniors Expo. So as you can see, we did have 36 events, which was 7 more in the spring of 2026 than the spring of 2025, and 50 event days, which was 9 more in the spring of 2026 than the spring of 2025. So as you can see ahead on the slide, there's the 3 photos, and those ones are from the Spring Fling, LaSalle Night Market Series, and the LaSalle Strawberry Festival. We're also fortunate enough to host many third-party events, as you can see in the report before you. So one event that we really wanted to highlight that we hosted for the first time was the 2026 Ontario Mine Rescue Competition. This was a new event for our facility, and the event center was completely transformed for the competition. Seeing so many events take place at the facility, it always looks different depending on what's being hosted. This one, every door and window in the facility was actually covered to create a fully dark environment, and a tunnel maze was constructed throughout the main floor for the competitors to navigate and complete challenges. It was a very unique event for our facility, and we were really happy to showcase that to the participants that were traveling from out of town. And this competition is actually one of 3 that are held in Ontario on the same day. So it was a pretty cool one to bring to our facility. Next, following each event, we always ask the event organizers to complete a feedback form. So in this feedback form, we always ask things such as the cleanliness. How was it to work with the staff? Are you interested in booking another event with us and keeping that date for the next calendar year? We find that it really helps us for continuously improving our services and enhancing the experience of those that are renting the facility. So the feedback that's displayed on this slide is from a popular event that is recurring that council is very familiar with, Play for a Cure. And we thought it was a good one because it really highlights the collaboration that happens between our town staff, between the departments, as well as the organizing staff that do come in to host these events. So we have to build these relationships so that we can gain their trust and they enjoy their time with us and then continue to come back every year. And this was really great feedback for us to receive and share with the team and everybody that had a part in taking place in this event. And that is all. That concludes the presentation, and we're available for any questions.
Thank you very much. Members of council, questions or comments? Councillor Segan?
Through you, Mayor Malash. First of all, congratulations on the effectiveness of your programming, because when you look at the metrics at large, that we see improved participation. So that's certainly a part of the dedication of your staff and the hard work and creative ideas that you think you've come through. I do have a question for the staff there. Will the Senior Active Living Center grant continue? And if so, how much funding is anticipated?
Thank you for the question, Councillor. The Senior Active Living Center grant is a April 1st to March 31st grant period, follows the provincial grant. We were successful in having a year 2, so we are currently in year 2. Generally, if you meet all the parameters of the grant, you can keep renewing that grant year over year over year. The grant has been running the province for several years, so we anticipate running this for many years to come.
Just to add on that, when we were in Ottawa, we had the opportunity to meet with the minister, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Pinero, I think the comment was that they're looking at a way of continuing the program without having to do an application every single year, so that it's funds that we could more or less rely on going forward. The only change may be if there's an increase in the program. Is that proper the way I understood it? Yes. So go ahead. Do you want to add on?
I'm sorry, I just, Councillor, I forgot to answer the second part of your question, which the funding we receive is $55,000 annually. And this year we received an extra one-time funding of $1,633. And that was specifically, we will be offering within the grant year drop-in clinics. That was one of the key emphasis for this year of the SALT program, is they wanted the communities to offer drop-in clinics, whether that be for a hearing clinic or blood pressure, something along those lines. So we'll be working to try to organize one of those.
Any other questions or comments? Just a comment, because I think I forgot to tell you the day of the event. I love the events we do. I think they're great, but I really enjoyed the Senior Active Living Expo that we have at the event center. It's so well attended, and it's not just LaSalle residents, it is Windsor Essex. But after the event, I thought to myself, we should have invited the Legion. And if we can put them on the list, now that we're working with them as well for that banner program that we have in the town, I know we launched the applications a little bit later in the year, but it may be good to get that information to other people who come and join us at that event. I did quickly mention it to them one day and they said they would absolutely love to be a part of it. So just to mark it down for the future. But otherwise, it's great to see our numbers continuing to grow to a point. But you guys are doing a really good job. So thank you very much. There is a recommendation that the report of the Manager of Culture and Recreation dated August 9th, 2026, CR-2026-18 regarding the 2026 Spring Session Report of Joint Programs and Events between Culture and Rec and Public Works be received. Moved by Councillor Carrick, support by Councillor Segan. All in favor? And that carries. Item 2 is the fall activities update, and that is both the Supervisor of Programming and Supervisor of Recreation. So whoever wants to take the lead.
Thank you. So before you is our fall activities report. Each occurrence of this meeting, we bring forward a report, and its purpose is intended to provide council and residents with the important upcoming dates related to closures, registration, session dates, upcoming events. So the dates are outlined in the report. There are a few that I would like to highlight. So today started our registration for our LaSalle residents for our fall activities. So those activities are now open for registration, and activity registration will open to all on Thursday. We are getting close to the end of our summer session, so our summer programming is coming to an end. Next Friday will be the last day for our day camp, and then next Sunday will be the last day of our aquatic programming. The Vollmer Center and LaSalle Outdoor Pool will be closed on Labor Day, which is Monday, September the 7th. And Labor Day will kick off our annual maintenance of the Vollmer Pool. So the Vollmer Pool will close and remain closed through Friday, October the 2nd, and will reopen to the public on Saturday, October the 3rd. The LaSalle Outdoor Pool will remain open throughout the month of September, all the way through until that Friday, October the 2nd, as an option, an aquatic option for residents. And the last call before fall is just around the corner as well. So the last call before fall will be on Friday, September 11th and Saturday, September 12th. And tickets are currently on sale for that event. And we're available for any questions.
Thank you. Questions? Councillor Riccio Spagnuolo.
Thank you. Through you. Just a question in regards to last call before fall. I know last year I brought forward a recommendation from feedback from residents who attended. Will we be looking or securing the coffee bars or the popcorn and things like that that residents were requesting last year that they wanted? I'm just wondering if we secured any of that.
Thank you for the question. So we do have a popcorn vendor for this year. We have reached out to coffee vendors and have not been successful at this time, but we will have a non-alcoholic vendor that will be joining us this year. It is a new one. It's called Sippity Sweet, and it is for those who are not interested in purchasing alcohol.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions or comments? Recommendation is the report of Supervisor of Programming dated July 23rd, 2026 regarding 2026 fall activities be received. Councillor Segan, Deputy Mayor Capata, all in favor? That carries. Any questions or statements by committee members? There being none, I don't have our next meeting date on here, so I will just adjourn the meeting. Have a good afternoon.